here's what we're doing, and this was a lot of fun the last time we did this. We picked like 5 games where it didn't have to be good teams or anything like that. It just had to be games you were going to watch, that you were going to make an effort to sit down. Maybe not the whole thing, but you wanted to see a little bit of it. But it's got a twist this time, okay? What we're going to do is, and Andy's going to go first. We're going to do 3 apiece. But you can't name another one that the other person is already doing. And if you do, you are out of the contest, and we never do this again. I have no basis for why I said that. I just said it. So, to begin, and these are the 3 bowls that we each are really looking forward to. Andy, what is your number 1?
My number 1 is the ChickfilA Peach Bowl.
What?
January 1st, Ole Miss, TCU.
I went right past that one. I forgot that was happening. That would have been on my list. It's not even on my list because I didn't even think of it. Damn it.
The reason I chose it is because these are 2 teams that I think should be in the conversation regarding the 4-team playoff, and I've been making the case during these talk segments with B-Sox that I think that the playoff system didn't go far enough. I think there should be at least 8 teams in this playoff for a national championship. I think TCU is absolutely one of those teams that should be in that conversation, as is Ole Miss. So seeing the 2 of them go head-to-head on January 1st in the ChickfilA Peach Bowl is one that I'm not going to miss.
All right, my first one that I will make a concerted effort to watch goes down the same area as yours, the Cotton Bowl. Michigan State and Baylor. Michigan State, team that had, 2 losses this year, 1 to Ohio State, 1 to Oregon, at Oregon. They actually hung in there for a little bit. And then Baylor, who, beat K-State on the last game of the season and didn't make the college football playoff. So that's going to be the first one that I'm going to be like, you know what, I need to watch that one.
My number 2 is the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl, happening December 24th, Christmas Eve.
Okay.
Central Michigan versus Western Kentucky.
Why do you want to watch? Wait a minute. What's Central Michigan? They're the Chippewas, right?
That's correct.
And Western Kentucky is like something like, I know this. It is okay. I can't think what
the
it is.
Hilltoppers.
Hilltoppers. That's right.
A couple of 7-5 teams, a pretty nondescript matchup, unless you take the individual players that are playing in this game, and then it becomes pretty interesting watch. And the biggest one for me is going to be watching Western Kentucky's very talented quarterback, Brandon Doty, who threw 44 touchdown passes on the season. This Western Kentucky team is the reason Marshall did not go undefeated this year. Marshall, one of the most interesting teams in college football, in my opinion. They beat the Thundering Herd 67-66 in overtime just a few weeks ago.
I remember seeing the score of that, and I went, Jesus Christ.
Typically, I always pick a bowl matchup with a Hawaii team in it because they're usually very high-scoring games and fun to watch. This is the reason I'm watching Central Michigan, Western Kentucky, and the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl on Christmas Eve.
One I'm actually interested in, this is my second pick, is actually the Liberty Bowl this year.
Mm-hmm.
Matchup of old Big 12 foes with Texas A&M taking on, the outcomer and the newcomer, I guess you could say, because they wouldn't have been in the league at the same time.
Nope.
I don't really have any other reason except, Texas A&M and West Virginia, they both have Big 12 ties, outgoer, newcomer, and that's pretty much it. I mean, Texas A&M has some flashes of they might be a pretty good team this year, but I just want to see it. I just think it'll be a good game. Number 3, your third and final.
Well, I alluded to Marshall, the Thundering Herd, in talking about my number 2 matchup, so I'm going with the Boca Raton Bowl, Marshall, Northern Illinois, on December 23rd. And the reason I'm going with this game is not only because it's kind of a local angle with Northern Illinois,
okay.
and being that little engine that could in this big world of college football giants.
Okay.
They finished 11-2 this year, which is amazing for Northern Illinois.
They've been good for the last couple of years.
Yeah, they have. So this will be a really fun matchup to watch. Marshall, of course, will have no problem scoring points. Northern Illinois, can they stick with them is the question. This Marshall team was one of only 2 undefeated teams in the entire world of college football going into the final weekend. They, of course, I mentioned a bit ago, got beat by Central Michigan. But
who, Marshall?
Or Western Kentucky. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
6-7 to 6-6.
Western Kentucky in that
You may just want
67,
it.
66 game.
Western Marshall is going to be awesome.
They beat their opponents by an average of 30 points a game up until that point. This is going to be a fun game to watch because this team is extremely talented. They bought into that offensive scheme, and they look good doing it. So I'm a big fan of this game in particular. And sure, I could have chosen one of the more,
prestigious,
noteworthy matchups, and what they were both in my alternates, including the Cotton Bowl that you already have chosen. But I'm curious to see as to what your number 3 is.
My number 3 one, and I have two reasons why I'm picking this game. All right, it's the Pinstripe Bowl.
Oh, so it's
Boston.
It's not what I picked. As
Boston College and making the return to college postseason, Penn State. And my 2 things for it is, one, I want to see what Penn State, seeing them come, because that's going to be the story, is everything that happened with Sandusky after not being be able to go to bowls or scholarships, all that, which I think the NCAA messed up by letting them back on. I really think that's one of those punishments that you got to say, listen, you're going to have to ride this out. There's no appeal. We're not going to lift it early. You are going to face this. And I think the NCAA made a mistake there. I'm interested to see Penn State and see all their fans at this game. I don't really have any. Boston College doesn't matter one iota to me, but I love seeing Yankee Stadium turned into a football field. I don't know why. It's such a neat environment for a game. It's cold. There's probably going to be some snow, and it's Yankee Stadium.
I honestly thought you were going to go with a bigger name bowl, which my other alternate, aside from the Goodyear Cotton Bowl on January 1, was yet another January 1 game, the Vizio Fiesta Bowl featuring Boise State and Arizona.
I don't like Boise State. I don't care what Boise State does. I think it's whenever they make their thing, oh, well, we went undefeated this season. You didn't play anybody. You didn't play in near as hard of a conference as anybody else. And shut up.
It's okay to have an opinion, kids. I have mine on Alabama. B-Sox here has his on Boise State.
You really like Boise State, huh?
I don't mind them. They've been entertaining for all these years. I think they just need an opportunity. Maybe a conference comes knocking one of these days. Do they take the opportunity if presented to them? Have they already been presented an opportunity?
Yeah, they did. They were supposed to go be a part of the Big East, remember? And then,
kind of a weird pairing, though. If I'm Boise State, do I really want to spend all that money in travel expenses? Probably not.
Well, that's the thing. And then the Big East, it kind of fell apart because of the basketball stuff.
I mean, if the Pac-12 ever came calling, I would probably consider that.
I'd
consider the Big 12.
If they could run the table and, have a 11-1 season, 12-0 season in the Pac-12 or the Big 12, listen, their accomplishments would mean a whole lot more to me.
I agree. But I'm just saying they need that opportunity, and I don't know, have they been given that opportunity yet?
They were supposed to sign on to a bigger conference, and it fell apart.
Yeah, but the Big East makes no sense.
College football doesn't make sense. Yeah. I mean, look at it right now. It took us this long to get a 4-team playoff. I mean, it doesn't make sense. Boise State, you just got me going there for a second. Them, Urban Meyer, Notre Dame, and...
Question, as an Iowa Hawkeye fan.
Okay.
Let's say Kirk Ferentz has worn out his welcome and they're looking to hire a new head coach for the Iowa Hawkeye football.
Brett Bielema.
I know that would probably be your number 1 pick.
Yeah.
How would you feel about Dan McCarney?
Would love it.
Would you?
Absolutely. That's been when he was at.
He's still with the Mean Green or the North Texas.
North
right?
Texas Mean Green, man. They're coming to Kinnick next year.
Are they?
Yeah, that's the first game of the season, I believe.
Awesome. I drive through Denton every time I go to Texas. Yeah, I see the stadium. It's right off the freeway.
I think I would love to see him there. I don't think it'll happen because he's too old. But no, I would have no problem ever with Dan McCarney. I loved him when he was at Iowa State.
Yeah.
I think what he did, and everybody would be like, oh, well, it was a lesser conference than it was there. He made Iowa State respectable.
And some years competitive.
Yeah. There was that year they should have beat Florida State on the opening game of the season. He had a 9-win season.
Wasn't there a game they should have beat Alabama?
That I don't know.
Wasn't there a bowl game they played Alabama and they missed a field goal?
No.
It went over the upright and they called it no good? Wasn't that Alabama?
No.
Am I mistaken?
Okay, yeah. No, you're right.
Thank you. 14-13?
14-13, the 2001 Independence Bowl. Wow,
there it is.
I forgot about that.
They missed a field goal, and I swear to this day that field goal may have actually been good. off of the foot of Tony Yelk, I believe was the name of their kicker.
I don't remember.
Well, I do because I was watching the game at Legends in Pleasant Hill. I'll never forget that.
Really?
Yeah, there were a lot of Cyclones fans. They were pissed. I looked at it and went, that looked good to me.
Yeah.
And they called it no good. 14-13, Alabama.
Yep. They 2001.
Give me some credit here. I know.
No, that was awesome. I really didn't think they played Alabama. I really didn't. So you got me there. You really did. All right, well, we got to let you go because there's Sons of Anarchy to get to. I guess it's the series finale or something. I don't watch.
It's over after tonight. The ride ends.
The ride ends. Last one more for the road.
That's going to be outdated by the time this is posted.
Probably. You know what? For the four
You already know who died and who didn't and how it all ends.
For the 4 people that are going to watch this. So, well, thank you for joining us again. Remember, if you want fantasy football advice, go to Facebook, 515 Fantasy Football. It's run by Andy Hall. He knows everything about the NFL.
Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.